From the West Coast to the Gulf Coast, we're talking about the stuff that matters. You're listening to Lunch Money, and here's your hosts, Mike and Joaquin.
So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to flip the switch totally here and switch to a totally different subject. You had spoke earlier about Bitcoin and how you mine Bitcoin. Now, for some of those out there that don't even know what Bitcoin is, take it like kindergarten. Like, what is Bitcoin? Do you think that people should be investing in Bitcoin? Is it the future? You mine it. What does that even mean to mine it? You know.
So let me ask this before. It's very easier. It's just, what do you want to get out of the Bitcoin, or what do you think you'll get out of the Bitcoin?
My reason for doing it was an investment.
Okay.
So in Louisiana, we have some of the lowest electrical in the nation. So essentially, you need a certain amount of electricity. It's pretty much what you're doing is you're sharing imagine if you were just sharing your computer power to a giant super processor.
You're talking about mining Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, imagine I need to have this super computer run, but we ended up taking 100 little computers from everybody else in the United States, and we borrowed their power to make the supercomputer run. So we're going to pay them something for their power. That's kind of how you mine. I mean, that's totally, but that's an easy version.
So step one, what is Bitcoin?
It's a cryptocurrency. So, and I know there's so many, and pretty much what it was for me was I just did a math equation. What's the average value of Bitcoin? How much electricity am I burning? What's my rate of return versus a normal rental property? And what's my upside and downside? And so that's how I got into it.
But there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin being made every day, right?
There's eventually...
Because it's a diminishing currency.
It's a diminishing... So eventually there will be zero.
Zero, yeah. There'll be no more.
No more, but there'll still be the amount that's in circulation.
Right.
But eventually, yes, it's supposed to stop. And I used to know a lot more about this. But...
So Joaquin, you can jump in here too. What makes Bitcoin different than the US dollar or the Chinese yen or the Japanese yen?
So do you see Bitcoin as like a means of exchange or a storage of wealth, or do you just see like that's why I'm asking, like, because I personally don't have any cryptos. I have a lot of people my age love cryptos.
I don't know any. I mean, it was cool. What kind of got me interested in it was, you had Robert Kiyosaki, who was saying, buy gold, buy silver, crypto. Don't mess with that. That's and then all of a sudden he did a flip on it. He did a 180, and now he's like all over YouTube saying crypto.
So
We need to get crypto.
Is that the markets can be easily manipulated?
Thank you.
A lot of smaller cryptos that you can get in at 25 cents, and let's say you're big whales right here, ball in with thousands of units, and you put in 100 whatever, and you just inflate the price. You see these charts, they're so like, that's why personally myself, if I would choose a crypto, it would probably have to be Ethereum or Bitcoin.
A big well established.
Because crypto, there's so many people that lost money in crypto. It's just, so that's why I'm curious on someone like you. Like, do you think it's a store of value for you?
So you're saying you're not buying Bitcoin, you're just creating it.
I am creating,
but you're getting paid in Bitcoin.
Yeah. So whatever the value. So I'm getting, let's say every day I get 0.1 Bitcoin. So in 10 days I have 1 Bitcoin. That's not how it works,
right?
Speed wise, but so whatever Bitcoin's value's at, that's what my 1 Bitcoin. So it's literally been to where, hey, I have let's say 1 Bitcoin mined, but it was at $2,000 that month. I was like, I'm not going to sell yet. And then I waited till it actually got above a point to where it made me good margins. I think it's at 11,000 right now.
So probably 13, I think, last I checked.
Yeah, it's over 12.
Oh, really?
For sure. Yeah.
Oh, dang. Okay. Yeah. I need to fix some of my miners because they broke.
And if you're wanting to actually invest in Bitcoin, I mean, you can now even do it through the Cash App. You can set up a schedule and you can buy little, percentages.
Coinbase and all these other apps.
Yeah.
Again, because I looked into this quite a bit a long time ago. I think when 2017, when the run up was from 1,000.
Oh, dude, it was wild. That's when everybody got into it.
Well, I never put money in, but I did do research. So apparently you want to have your own key in your own wallet, right? Because there's people that do these apps. Coinbase, I think, is very established. So I don't think it's a likely thing that they would just get wiped out. But it's happened where people, get their Bitcoin stolen, and then it's just over, dude. That all that money you had just disappears in a flash. So you do want to have, and I can't speak to this because I personally don't know. All I know is that what people recommend if you're going serious is to have your own wallet, have it in a hard drive, keep it separate, because I mean, yeah, you never know what's gonna happen, and you can get hacked. And if you get hacked like that, it's like it's over. There's no FDIC. It's like
Yeah,
gone.
it's gone. So I'll tell you a story though, where you also need to be careful because, for example, like where we had the hurricane, and so imagine you had your wallet.
Yeah.
So this happened to a guy I know. He used to mine it way back. Like he just would use his normal processor or whatever. Well, he had a hard drive that he accidentally threw, like it was a computer they threw away. All that Bitcoin is literally on that hard drive.
Oh wow.
And it's, I mean, it's going to be gone for, it's in the ether. Who knows?
Yeah.
And so it'd be the same thing. Like if, for example, oh, you had your wallet and you left it during the hurricane and it got destroyed. It's like,
it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a catch-22.
Yeah, like you know, you choose your poison at this point.
Exactly.
But for sure,
Yeah.
I heard some horror stories on Reddit. Like they had who knows how many hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they lost, or something happened to their hard drive or their key, and it's just bad news. But now I again, that's for if that happens. But Coinbase, I think PayPal now got in it. That's why there was that big spike up. PayPal saying that they're
okay.
yeah.
Facebook's starting, I think, their own. I don't know. Like I said, I used
Everybody,
to be
their own
very,
blockchain. Just
and that's the thing.
Technology, right? Can you talk
blockchain? Yeah. So I know just enough, but yeah, the technology blockchain is really what could revolutionize a lot of other things like industry and I mean, God, medicine and processing and all this. Like that's the exciting moment that could happen. Like they're talking about something about this Genesis system or something. But it's being utilized to, I would say, man, be very careful if you're using it as an investment for almost treating it like a stock. Except in like you've done your research, because there are thousands and thousands that are just fraud. You know what I mean? Like, because think about it, you and I could start one and make 20 million units.
Mm-hmm.
If all of a sudden there's a valuation and it's just like a stock, like, or we could make 100 billion units. Like there's no amount. We literally would make whatever we want. Somebody, it was great. They did it as a joke. It was called like dog coin. It was something. What was it? Was it that? It was something like they did it to mock the exact thing that was happening. And it actually took off.
Really?
And started gaining value. And the guy's like, this is the whole thing I was making fun of because this is not real. And what? And so it actually is like one of the higher tiered coins.
Wow.
It's like that one I think a Korean dog, like the face of it.
It's something with like a dog, or I used to know it by heart, but there are probably a few that
I just bought 5 dog coin.
There are a few like you're saying, Ethereum, and certain ones that are a little more established. Each one seems to have its own niche. Like some of them are very, because Bitcoin originally used to be for, what was it? The I don't know if we want to go down this, but the Silk Road. Do you know what that was? Do you know what that is?
The Silk Road?
Yeah, Silk Road on the internet. Okay. Well, all right. I guess as a pharmacist, this is why I know this.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. So it used to be a way to buy drugs
on the
internet. Like, so that's what Bitcoin was kind of used for, because it was technically traceable, but it's really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And so Silk Road was a way they shut it down years ago, but it was like literally people were using it to buy drugs online. And so Bitcoin, that's how the currency started. It wasn't in a value, everything was converted into like Bitcoin. Yeah. And then it was traded. And that way the track, but there are literally like some coins are, we have a lower transaction fee, which that's the plus, or it's going to be the fastest, or there is no way to track it. It's actually truly encrypted on both sides. And so there are pluses to each coin, supposedly. Now, whether or not one's worth it or what, I don't know. It scares me to invest, but like I said, mining was one of those things. I knew I was putting in this much. I was willing to lose it. And I was like, if it works out, awesome. If it doesn't, I'm okay with the amount I'm losing. I think that's the key. If you're going to play in that area, just think if your money is gone already. Yeah. Huh. And if you go up, cool.
It's it was high risk.
Yeah.
So
at the time.
Have you purchased Bitcoin outright, or do you just, whatever you mine is what you mine?
I did. I purchased a lot of coins. different ones too at early during the craze of it.
Right.
I still own some of them. They're worth nothing.
Right.
But no, there definitely, there was a while where I was actually actively watching it. And if it dropped below X, I'd buy XYZ, and I just hold and look, and I'm like, oh, what's up? Because it had a nice volatility to it. You could kind of follow a trend of.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but all the nations, the different banks of countries and stuff, they're all moving to blockchain, to some sort of blockchain. They're all wanting to initiate it. I actually invested in a company called Diginex, and they went public, and they're the first publicly traded platform for blockchain. And I did a lot of researching on this company, and these guys, when they talk, I can understand like half of what they say because they're so smart, but they understand that they got all these countries that are coming, and their banks are coming to them saying, hey, we want to get in the blockchain gang. So they say, hey, we have the platform, and it's all about security. You know,
do you know, like, I assume in the top of the list, if any country could have one of these things, would be to get rid of cash. You know what I mean? Like, they could just like track everything, you know, everything will be on paper. There's no more, like, that's why they say for security, for safety, you know, cash is bad. And now what we're seeing with COVID, I can't pay with bills in certain places here in California. Like, they won't take my money.
Yeah. But the other thing is, you got to remember, this is super efficient. Where this actually took off, besides the whole Silk Road drug thing, it's, all right, imagine you have a family in Honduras and you need to send them $1,000 that you've earned in the States.
Yeah.
What's that transaction? Usually it's federal. It's what is that? Money. What's the place where you go to like
currency exchange?
Money Union,
federal.
Western Union. Western Union.
Yeah.
So it's like teamwork in West. Yeah, exactly. The dream. Yeah. Western Union, and then that's $50 to $100 to send your 1,000. Well, this is literally a, hey, $10 transaction fee. Boom, it's in their account. Boom, then they transfer it over. All right, I got it, Mom. Thanks. Like, that's the benefit of kind of crypto. Is in a lot of people's mind is the easy movement of money without having to go through, or you're with Chase and I'm with Wells Fargo, and we've got to send the wire with that fee. And I mean, heck, actually, now that I think about it, just a wiring fee, if you don't have free wires, anywhere $15 to $20.
It is
$25. So it's like really for the fee to exchange it into a crypto, send it, and then hope it hasn't changed enough in those last 30 seconds.
Yeah,
you probably save money.
Right.
So
yeah, I think that's kind of like, now there's Zelle. Have you guys heard of Zelle?
Hi, Zelle. Yeah. I'm a big Zelle guy.
It's all like, it doesn't matter what bank. It's just that I don't think there's any fees to send money. Maybe if it's like more than a few 10,000 or whatever. I don't even know if you can do those high amounts. But yeah, no, I think there's definitely pros and cons with Bitcoin, blockchain. But I don't know if I personally would ever get to the point where I would invest a significant amount of money into it, just because I personally don't know enough.
And I think that's a big part. Like, I have a friend of mine, he is huge and brilliant into stocks, but his one thing he always says is, I stay in my lane.
Dude, that's so
I know
big.
what I know.
That's so big, dude.
So big. And that's where you need to, there's times where you need to educate yourself, and you need to go, there's, like, for example, what was that? Nikola, that, you know, everyone was talking about. And I was like, dude, I just don't know a thing about it. I was like, hey, I'm happy you made a ton of money. Yeah. But I know nothing about this and haven't done research. So I'm just not even going to take that chance. And so it was, and that's the one thing he keeps saying to me. And I'm like, man, I appreciate that. So I've kind of changed my mindset on stocks to go, hey, here's going to be the area of stocks I focus in, and I'll know that well. Yeah. And that's all I need to worry about.
If you guys are super successful at real estate or very well off, like, why even bother, like, to that extent? Like, sure, maybe follow a S&P 500, right? Very, very safe. Very
boring.
Boring. But my point is, like, if you guys know how to, if I give you guys 50 grand, you'll go find an amazing deal and give me the best returns than if I give you 50 grand and put it in the stock, right? Like, so if it works, like, just keep doing it.
So I think it's this, and this is my perspective. It's, where can I get the most value for my money? If right now it's stocks, I'm going to stocks.
Right.
If it's real estate, I'm going to real estate.
Right.
If it's Baccarat, I'm going to go learn Baccarat. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
So that was something, that's what right. I mean, when that crash happened, it was like, hey, all right, I might be making 10, 15% of my money in real estate, but I can make a lot more right now in stocks. So that's how my mindset is.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I've gone into other crazy things like Bitcoin and other stuff. Like, hey, what is my return? It could calculation wise be a 20% return year on year. Awesome. Let's try that. So that's how I look at it. It's not necessarily, I do like a niche and I do love to learn that, but there's something else that's going to make me more, or that's just fun to learn.
Right. Huge.
That's how what do you think, Mike? I mean, you've got all kinds of stuff, dude.
Well, I mean, but for me, I guess it's more about like diversification.
Yeah, that's true too.
But I owned one stock before March of this year. Yeah, that was it. I was in one stock.
Shut up.
And then
we talked about stocks so much over March, and you only owned one.
No, I was in April. That's when I started getting into it. Yeah, and so
I listened to you too.
What was that one stock?
No, dude, Mike made me a lot of money.
It was an LNG stock.
Yeah, no, you made me a lot of money.
Yeah, that was just like, that's my one dead killer right now is the one I owned before March. But I saw a friend of mine, Marty. He was telling me, he's like, he said, man, you need to get into the stock market right now, because I was selling all my silver.
Yeah,
I was buying silver actually when silver dropped, but then I realized what happened in the market. Long story short, so I was selling my silver, going, oh my gosh, I saw the opportunity in the stock market in April, and I was just like pushing money into the stock market, and I'm so glad I did, because I mean, guys like George and other people, you made me a lot of money too. We
helped each other.
We did. And,
it was and there's so much information, and that's the thing. Like, I know very little,
but it was a time in the market that you could know very little.
Yeah,
it was shooting fish in a barrel. I've never been in the stock market.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I jumped in, was because it's like
such a love.
It was
there's a saying my friend said in Wall Street: when there's blood in the water, like when there's blood on the streets, you should buy. And it's just like
Warren Buffett says, buy when people are fearful and careful when people are greedy. Yeah. So like, that's great. Yeah.
And it was hard, because I remember, so I called my guy and I was like, oh dude, the first week I was like, put an extra XYZ in. Sweet. Dropped again. Awesome. Put an extra XYZ in. It dropped again that next week. And I was like, let's just hold and see what happens. You're like, that fear will take over.
It does, man.
And that's what we were talking. I have a huge position in one stock, and I know mentally it's the right move, at least in my statistics. Now, it doesn't mean I couldn't lose at all, but probability wise, I still think it's a good move. But it's still, you have that psychological what if?
Yeah.
It's
I told myself I was going to be out of the stock market before the election, because I knew it was going to be volatile. And I'm still in the stock market.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right. And I told my dad the other day, I was like, I'm strapping my belt on. I'm in for the ride. And so I don't look at it every day right now, because it will make you sick some days.
Exactly.
So it's just like, all right. And then, after November, I'm sure everything's it's historically, after an election, everything goes up an average of 16%. So yeah. And so I'm just like, I'm just going to hang in there and just, let it go through.
So one thing that helped me a ton, especially when a company I did a lot of research, like Carrier. I did a ton of research on that. And you and I remember I talked to you for days. Like, I was like looking up, and we got in on that right on the IPO.
Yeah.
I think it's like 32 now. We got it 12.
Nice.
But I told myself I'm going to look at this stock again third quarter. And setting my mindset up like that, the first 6 to 8 weeks of Carrier were up, down, up, down, up, down, for like 12, 16, 12, 10, 12. And I was like, nope, I'm looking at it third quarter. Actually, I did the same thing. I don't think I ever told you, with Tesla. Right when they came out with that, their eco 3 years ago or 4 years ago, when they did the announcement for the economic, like the $50,000 or $30,000 car.
Model 3?
Yes. They announced it. And I called my broker and I said, hey, I want to put like 25 grand into Tesla today, and we're going to look at it in 3 years when they launch that. Because he says they're going to, it's like, we're doing a 3-year plan. And I was like, I'm not going to look at it ever again. And that was my whole thing, is I don't want to see it, because then it's real.
Yeah.
So I wrote the check, boom. He calls me 6 months later. Hey, it's doubled. Do you want to take out your principal? Yeah, sure. Why not? Okay. He calls me like 8 months later. Hey, it's doubled again. You want to take out that again? Yeah, sure. Why not? And then the craziness at 2,200. And I literally sold like after the split all my shares. But it's that setting up that if I'm like, hey, here's my when I'm gonna start looking,
Right.
that has helped me a ton on stocks, especially because you will go crazy.
Yeah, if you check your brokerage account every day, you'll go.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Looney House.
Just so that you know yourself enough to put yourself in those situations where like, okay, we'll check in next quarter and then we'll adjust, and if we have to sell or buy or whatever, we can talk about that then. But right now, I just put it to the side.
And what taught me that was failures. Like I was saying, I bought Facebook IPO.
Wow.
I sold.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
In the dip of the first like 10, 15 days. It was right when I was a pharmacist. I had like $5,000. I was like, Facebook IPO done. Boom. My thought was, and I knew nothing about stocks. It's going to have a 15, 20% jump. And I'm going to just sell it and just make my 15, 20%. No.
And IPO is initial public offering.
Right when it got
right
listed.
when it came out on,
And
what was the price then?
I don't even, maybe $30. I have no
Yeah.
idea. But I don't even know what Facebook's at now. Honestly,
It's at 230?
I haven't checked
220?
Facebook in a while, but dude,
225?
no, I
And-
find it pretty crazy though, because like there's so much volatility.
Mhm.
and it dropped. And I remember it dropped. And so my 5,000 was like 3,500. And I was like, man, screw this. And I sold.
Yeah.
And I lost. And but it was those things where I was like, hey, okay, I should have. And it's those failures that helped me learn myself and also just kind of know how I am as a person versus other people might really want to see that everyday data. Where me, I'm like, I need to know, okay, what is my actual plan for this? Boom. Okay. Am I holding this long? Cool. Well, let's look at it next year and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Unless you know something, now you could always put like an alert, like if the stock drops 150%, help call, 911.
That's why I look at it every day, not because, and I'm a long-term investor.
Yeah.
I look at it every day because I'm looking for deals.
Yeah.
I'm shopping. I'm, looking for discounts, something drops, and I do set my alerts, so I don't look at it all the time because I don't have time to just do that. So I'll set my alerts, and every now and then an alert will go off and I'll be like, oh, it's a time to buy that little sucker.
Yeah, I've loved limit orders.
Yeah.
Limit orders has changed my life. Like just if the stock gets this, buy me 5,000 shares. Like I don't have to watch anything.
Yeah.
It's huge. And then you can look at the chart and
Yep.
and then you just, okay, that's a nice dip, and I think that's a good support buy there.
Yeah.
But what happened with Facebook? I mean, I can't imagine how much money that's made you in the market, Like,
No. I sold.
No.
I lost it all.
My point is that failure taught you so much because
Because
what if you would have doubled your money? You would have had 10 grand. And that
I would have thought I'm the genius. I'm just going to do this every time.
Exactly. So that failure probably has made you who knows how many hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars because of the fact that you
a lot more.
You see what I'm saying? Like that situation there has made you. It was like the best thing that could have happened to you. Instead of you doubling that 5 to 10, you know what I mean. So it's huge.
No, and that's what I was kind of saying in the first talk. I would rather have a person who has failed in something, and also actually I had to talk with this today. Somebody over a mentor, and they were like, "Man, I was trying to," and I was like, "Man, if you're looking for somebody you want to ask advice, this is something that was taught to me." And I was like, "Wow, that's brilliant." Because some people who are super successful, like let's say I was trying to go work, ask Bill Gates a question, like. My thing was one, how do I make his life easier? That should be my first thought. How do I, because that's what a person who's so busy like that, that's where you're at. Like, God, what can I do to make their world easier? And then after you do that, you ask for nothing in return.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you're going to, first off, just by helping them, you're going to learn something. But also think how many people in their life are always asking for something.
Yeah.
So you're that person. So if you want that from somebody, or if you actually want to learn from someone,
Give them
and you do have an opportunity, give them value and don't ask for anything in return. And trust me, you will get something because they will start to see, okay, this person's giving me value, giving me Presley, she did so many things for me. I was like, Presley, here, I just need to pay you money because you didn't even want it, but like you have helped me out 30 times for nothing. And thank you. And so
that's my daughter.
Yeah. I didn't even know else. I was like,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to get her on the show, but she said it would be social suicide.
She would be amazing. She is she's so intelligent for her age. Like if I would know what she knew, dude, I'd be dangerous, I think. Anyway, sorry.
Social suicide. That's hurt me.
I'm hurt right now.
I know, man.
Shut the stream down later.
I think it's because it's with her dad.
I think so. I think
maybe it feels like me and her talking.
Maybe so.
And you were in the background just doing like stuff with the Danny DeVito pillow. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe it's the Danny DeVito pillow. That's
dude, I love that. I saw that pillow in one of the other podcasts, and I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant.
That was really educational. I really, really liked it.
Yeah, I feel much better about my life, because I thought I was just a failure. But apparently, good things come when you fail enough.
Man, that thing about Facebook and losing money on Facebook made me feel a lot better about myself. There's so much more to this interview, though. There's several parts. If you haven't caught some of the other parts, we're going to put them down in the description down below.
Yes.
And leave us a comment, and like, subscribe. Please share this. And Joaquin, don't we also have an Instagram?
Oh, yeah. I'll post it right here. You'll see some pictures there and a picture here. We're working on that. It's looking pretty good. Mike is a professional meme maker on the part-time, so some pretty good stuff. I really recommend you guys check that out.
Yep, at Lunch Moolah.
Yes.
So go check it out. All right. Well, hey, we'll see you on the next episode. Please hit that little bell right down there, or where is it right there? Mm-hmm. So that way when we post a video, you'll get notified and you'll be able to check it out right away.
Yeah, I really do appreciate your time, and I can't wait to see you guys next time.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.